How we doing, folks? Your host Moose here, back on a first season 2 kind of teaser episode of our Pitt Panthers Dynasty, and we have come on to a big day. It's signing day. We've got our recruiting class finalized, and that is a huge thing for you guys because this is where I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to become a part of the Pitt Panthers, to become a part of this dynasty. It's going to be awesome. We'll get into kind of what's going to happen here, and we'll get into the recruiting class. So it is signing day. I've got my final class in, and you'll see the class. It became a very good class. I used, I knew a couple of the, just from looking at forums and things of that nature, I knew a couple of the things that would make it a little bit too easy to recruit, so I tried not to use them. But even just the normal recruiting in this game turned out it wasn't too terribly hard. So we have a very good class. So I'm probably going to look into increasing some house rules on myself, just to limit the ability of our recruiting class. But a team has a top 10 season like ourselves, is in a very good conference, a good program. We played in NFL stadium. I mean, we're a pretty appealing program in my opinion. So because of that, I'm not too upset about our class, but you'll see that here. We're going to take a look at our recruiting class, and then we're going to talk about how that's going to involve you guys. So here's our class overall. We're going to start in the order in which we signed them. So the first guy was Cameron Porter, and we're going to go all the way up, and we're going to go through the guys that we've signed. Now, what I want you guys to think about here as we come through these results, what I'm going to give you guys the option to do, all of these recruits here, with the exception of 2 of them, are up for grabs in that you can become one of those recruits, meaning I'm going to put in the comment section, or I'll put it in the comment section, I'll also put it in the description of the video. You have the ability to pick one player out of this group, or maybe 2 players if you're worried that somebody's going to pick the same one as you. But you'll have the opportunity. You can give me a new name for the player. You can also give me a little bit of a backstory for them. Okay, you're not gonna be able to change their rings and things like that, but a backstory would be cool because it'll give me something to talk about when that player gets to play, or when we talk about that player in the game. It doesn't have to be a life story, but just a couple cool little facts about them, how they were in high school, whatever it might have been. But you can give me a new name. I want a number of the player, so you can give me your favorite number, or whatever number you want this player to be. Okay, you also give me the gear that they're going to wear, so the helmet type that you want them to wear, if you want them to have gloves, you want them to wear leg tapes, things on their arms, sleeves, whatever it might be. But you can give me that option. Anybody that doesn't get picked, I'll get to pick their number and their gear and all that stuff. But if you want to become a player, this is where you're going to get the option. You'll see a few dynasties on YouTube and various places that give you the option to create a recruit. Well, my thought is, if you create a recruit, I might not be able to sign you, and then you're not going to end up in the dynasty, really. This option here gives you the ability to become a player. You might not be a starter year number 1, but you could, because we're going to play this dynasty basically as long as you guys have interest in it, as long as I have interest in it, which, because there's no NCAA coming out relatively soon, could be forever, So we're going to get through a lot of seasons on this, and it's going to give you the opportunity to play a career on our team. So that's what you're going to have the option to. So keep that in mind, of a player that you might want to become, if it's your favorite position, what you might have played in real life, if you want to just become one of these players. So keep in mind, you'll have the ability to rename them, give them a number, give them a backstory. So if we have multiple people want to be the same person, a compelling backstory might be the thing that puts you over the top to become that player. As well as the gear that you want them to wear. So sleeves, armbands, helmet, whatever it might be, visors, things of that nature. So that's what we're going to have here. So as you look through the recruits, Cameron Porter was the first guy we signed. You've seen all of these recruits before, so we can go through them quickly. They've been mentioned in different episodes. David Gray, quarterback. Darren Toth, 4-star defensive tackle. Fantastic player. Todd Sibley, he's the first guy I'm going to note to you guys that you're not going to be able to become, because he is a real Pitt recruit. He's like one of the only 2 Pitt recruits I created, and so because of that, I want to use him, and I'm not going to rename him. So he's one of the only 2 players that you won't be able to become. Ryan Archer, fullback. Of course, we need a new fullback to back up George Aston. We lost a ton of linebackers this year, so we got a bunch of them in. Leo Franklin, 4-star from Druid Hills, Georgia. Looks to be a fantastic player. Michael Collins, a tackle. Of course, we lost some big offensive linemen as well. 68 overall. I only allow myself to try and sign 1 athlete. We did get 4-star Bill May, who looks to be a fantastic player. He looks to be a defensive player, maybe a defensive end or a linebacker, so keep that in mind if you want to become him. But great 4-star player there. Robert Brown, West Mifflin, PA, so a local product from Pittsburgh area. 3-star lineman, not great, but another good depth player to have. Adam Rivas from Florida, linebacker. Steve Royal, free safety, we then signed from Ohio. Andy Hodges is going to be our kicker, so if you want to become our kicker, you'll get to see him definitely in season 1 because we only have one. But from Radford, Virginia, 82 overall, so he's going to be fantastic because I have now scouted these guys all fully. I do that after I sign them so that they really become gems and things for me. Lonnie Bush, 75 overall. Good looking player here, strong safety from Utica, New York. Ryan Henry, 3-star tackle from Moorhead, Minnesota. Brandon Bowling, he was a gem. There was a couple of guys in here that were gems. I'll go over them because we'll do a position by position as well so you can get more looks at some of these players. But he was a gem. He was projected, I think it's 70 overall or 71 overall. He ended up being 77 from Colorado. Fantastic defensive end. Little undersized, but could be fantastic for us. Will Frazier, 4-star receiver. Bit disappointed with how he turned out, but from Conroe, Texas. A lot of height, something we don't necessarily have with our receivers now. Andrew Jefferson, a big pass-catching tight end, so he might get a look in the future here from Naples, Florida. Adam Payne from Carnegie, Pennsylvania, another Pittsburgh product. Ryan Lumpkin, defensive tackle, another Pittsburgh product from Franklin Park, so you can become him. Zach Butler, he is the second player that you won't be able to become. I have plans for him. He won't end up being Zach Butler. You'll see that in the future. But there was one other huge Pitt recruit, Pitt's #1 recruit this year. I really want to play with him. So that's who Zach Butler is going to become. You'll see that in the next episode. But he's the only other guy that you can't become, unfortunately. So sorry about that, guys. Jared Jackson, quarterback. Looks like a solid player. Probably be our third stringer this year because I think we'll redshirt David Gray. But another good player there. Freddie Henley, fantastic signing. We got Jared Jackson, Freddie Henley, and Eric Bonner are the 3 guys we were able to pick up on signing day. We got 3 signing day signings. One was Jared Jackson. Freddie Henley, we fought off Virginia, Navy, Maryland, all to sign the 4-star cornerback. We took him from Maryland, out from under their nose. Also from under Virginia, who took halfback from us, 5-star halfback that we were trying to sign. So big signing getting Freddie Henley. And then Eric Bonner, 5'11", 212, outside linebacker from D.C., from the D.C. area. Hopefully they'll get a pipeline there for us. But we took him out from Ole Miss. Ole Miss had climbed up the rankings on him week in and week out, and they finally took over from us in Arkansas late in like week 14 and 15, but we threw just tons of points at him in the recruiting, end of the season recruiting, and we were able to get him 4-star outside linebacker, 76 overall. He's a fantastic player, so really excited to use him and somebody that you guys could become if you want. He's definitely going to be in the lineup sooner rather than later, but we'll go through position by position now, guys, that you might want to become so you can get another look at them. Jared Jackson, quarterback. David Gray as well. David Gray's got more upside. Balanced quarterback. I think we're going to redshirt him this year, but he'll have much more likelihood to compete potentially for a starting position in the future. Todd Sibley, halfback. We got a lot of depth there, but he's a real guy. I'm excited to use him. Fullback, we got Ryan Archer in, another good guy that we'll just need for a good solid backup. We didn't have a backup fullback last year, so I'm excited to have him in here. Will Frazier, receiver, just some depth. We lost Dantes Ford, so we got another receiver in, a lot of height. So one that I think could be very helpful for us because we have a lot of small receivers right now. So definitely somebody that could play in the future. We lost 2 tight ends, Orndorff and Jamar Parrish, so we needed to definitely bring one in. We got Andrew Jefferson. Not a great overall, but I like his size. I like his upside, somebody that we could really utilize. Of course, we lost Biznawani, so some big offensive line losses. So we got Ryan Henry and Michael Collins, both 2 solid tackles, guys that aren't going to start right away, but definitely have a future with us. We got a guard in Robert Brown, who's just going to be there for depth primarily, but Cameron Porter, a guy that he might be in the starting lineup this year. I haven't been able to do a depth look at our team just yet. That's what will be in the next episode, but he might start this year. That's how good of a player he is, or at least be in the running for it and definitely start next year, I would think. So he's definitely going to be a huge player for us coming up. We didn't get any centers in. As far as the defensive side of the ball, Brandon Bowling, again, another guy that's going to definitely compete for playing time at the defensive end position. He probably won't be a starter, but he'll definitely be on the 2 deep for sure. So a guy that definitely could be of interest to you guys. Ryan Lumpkin, like I said, depth guy, but Darren Toth. We lost both our starting defensive tackles, so he's going to be in the mix for playing time. There's no doubt about it. He's a 4-star. Really excited to use him. He's a big boy that can clog up the middle. Ton of linebackers we brought in. Both Eric Bonner and Leo Franklin are 4-stars, which by my own house rules means they're not getting redshirted, which means they're going to see the field in some capacity this year. So players you might want to consider becoming going into this season. Adam Rivas, middle linebacker depth, has some upside to him, so looking forward to using him. At corner, we got Freddie Henley, who is definitely available for you guys. 78 overall already. He might be our nickel corner this year. That's how good he's going to be, or at least have a chance. He'll definitely get in some games because he's a 4-star, so he's going to play. Zach Butler, unfortunately, you guys can't become him. I have plans for him, I promise. We'll keep it a secret, keep it zipped for now, but you'll see that in the next episode. Free safety, Steve Royal. We have one of our safeties leaving, and our safeties, other than Jordan Whitehead, are not great, so you might want to consider becoming one of them. Lonnie Bush could be a really good option for one of you guys to become if you want to do that. Andy Hodges, like I said, if you want to be the kicker, he's going to be in every game. So that's a possibility for you as well. And then, of course, Bill May, athlete. I project him at either a defensive end or a linebacker, so keep that in mind. But he's definitely a player that could feature for us. So a lot of really good recruits. And what that means is we can go ahead and take a look at how that turned out for our recruiting class. If we look at the top classes, we had the 8th ranked recruiting class in the country. We didn't get any 5-stars, but we had 7 4-star prospects, 14 3-stars, which I think was very high on the list. A couple of 2-stars as well. We signed 23 guys, so a very solid class for us. Really happy with that. I think it was the best class in our conference. So we got a lot of good players. Clemson with a few more 4-stars, but a little bit of a smaller class. So I said I'm not going to cut anybody. I got 23 guys coming in. I had 19 seniors going out. We had 2 empty roster spots, which means 21 guys would fit for sure. But then because James Conner is going to be leaving, I'm going to cut him. So we'll have 22 available spots. And then there's one guy additionally that's actually going to be like 80+ overall. He's a receiver. But I didn't play him at all last season because he had left the program, and so I'm going to cut him as well. So we'll get down and we'll have a perfect 70 roster, so you don't have to worry about us cutting any of the lower string guys or overstocking players or things like that. We don't have to worry about that. But a very, very good class. Obviously, like I said, I'll probably have to implement a few rules to just make sure it stays challenging as far as the class is concerned. But you look at our signings, we are very, very happy with all those guys that we're able to bring in. I hope you guys are happy with that, and I hope you guys are excited to potentially become a couple of those players. So those are the recruits. Like I said, I'm going to scroll through them as I talk here, but you can become any of those players. Like I said, look in the description as well as in the comment section where I'll leave the list of the information I'll need from you if you want to become one of these players. It's going to be player name, obviously which player you're replacing. That's the big first key. You got to tell me which player you're going to become, what you're going to change their name to if you want to change their name, what number you like that player to be. Obviously, if it's taken by somebody already on the roster, we'll see what we can do for you. But what number you would prefer them to be, give me like maybe 1 or 2 numbers just in case there's a duplicate. And then give me a little bit of a backstory about them, some cool things that I can say about them if they get into a game, if they make some plays, as well as, maybe a nickname for them if you want. And then the gear they're going to wear. So helmet, gloves, sleeves, different things like that. Whatever you want the player to wear, visors, whatever it could be, let me know what you want them to look like. So that's how I hope we're going to get you guys involved in this Dynasty, guys. Hope, generate some interest for you, some rooting, that you can root for your player to get some action, and you could be like a real fan. You're rooting for your kid, basically. You're like a parent of somebody on the team. You can yell at the coach if you want, if you don't like the way they're being utilized. But that's what I want to have to get you guys interested in the career and excited about that. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it, and I'm excited to get into season 2. The next episode is going to have things like the depth chart. We're going to look at the schedule. We're going to do an overall roster preview, things of that nature. I'll show you who's getting redshirted, all of that stuff. So that's what we'll have next episode, guys. As always, thank you for tuning in. I'll give you a bit of time to get those players in, so next episode won't be for definitely a few days, maybe close to a week, but try and get those players in as soon as you can so that I can get them onto the team. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hail to Pitt. We'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye.